So it was a lot. So we did a lot of meals. So this Wednesday's our last distribution. And I know the ladies will be excited to have like a 1 week rest before they get back to school for everything. But I know you can't read this, but I do want to give some huge shout outs. This seriously takes a village. There are so many people that had to be involved to do this. So one thing is our admin office. Normally we are incredibly busy in the summer. I remember someone saying, "Why do you work in the summer? What do you do?" But that is like all of our planning time. We are just now getting to start that this week. So it's been really, it takes so much with just signing up so many families, people calling with questions, things like that, menu development, getting the food. So Jill Barnett, Elise Barron, and JC Turner were huge help this whole summer. JC helped put together that video that I'll try to send out somehow so you guys can actually see it because you couldn't really see it on there. We had site supervisors are required at all the sites. So Brittany Brown was a site supervisor for Chandler. We had Michaela Coulter was for Oakdale. Kim McLemore did Boonville Middle School. Because we had so many meals going out of Boonville Middle School, we had to also prepare meals at Boonville High School. So Mary Beth Chapman prepared those meals and her staff, and then they would get a van and shuttle them over every Wednesday during distribution. So Patty Feldmeyer at Linville, and then Kelly Schmidt and Jimmy Campbell kind of tag teamed each other at Tennyson. So we had those site supervisors, and then we had 45 additional employees that we were able to provide employment for this summer, which was wonderful. And then they kept very busy. So basically they worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to rest their bodies because it was a lot of lifting and all that. Our maintenance department, Brian Flowers has been great, but I cannot say enough about Wes Jones. He is our food and nutrition maintenance man, but him and Ethan Edwards were just amazing. I mean, on the spot, moving equipment all the time to be able to let us do it. So they were wonderful. The custodians, a special shout out to Susan Smith at Boonville Middle School. She just helped in any way she could. They were wonderful. Greg Webb, who is not here anymore, but he helped us get the van to be able to transport food. And then the principals, just Gene Raber, he was amazing. He actually helped us distribute meals, and I think that says so much about that school because not only did he, but a lot of his staff and teachers, some of their kids came and helped us. So it was just a well-oiled machine over there, and I really do owe that to his leadership because that was just amazing to see him out there. Yeah, I said kids and student volunteers. Okay, so just a little bit about what is going on with our department. You probably can't read this either, but just a reminder that our department operates as a self-supporting entity and a cost-effective department within the school corporation. So we are fiscally responsible for the overall operation. These are numbers just to kind of show you where we are for this year. Our food expenses run about $3.5 million a year. Our labor expenses are right about the same, $3.5 million. And then everything else that we need, like equipment and any kind of supplies, everything you can imagine to run basically 16 cafeterias runs a little less than $1 million. So that's kind of our breakdown. Our annual budget is $7.8 million. And then I put over here what we get from our federal funding because we are USDA federal funds is what funds our program. But in addition to that, we rely on what parents bring to pay for school meals. So our federal dollars will come in around 3.2 this year. 3.2 million is what we're estimating. So that leaves a good chunk that we rely on families to pay for these meals. I did do a breakdown just for elementary meals, just so you can kind of see this. We are not proposing a meal price increase this year, but whenever we cost out our menus, we charge currently $2.45 for an elementary lunch. Our average food cost for one lunch meal is $2.08. So if we're charging $2.45, but our cost is $2.08 just for the food, that doesn't include the labor, the equipment, stuff like that. So I do anticipate a price increase next year unless something happens federally where we get more reimbursement, but just kind of a heads up that will probably be coming so we can keep our program successfully functioning. We all know inflation and things like that, but we're seeing, just an example, a dish machine that I purchased 4 years ago cost $36,000. This year I bought the exact same dish machine, it was $72,000. So the prices, it's just crazy. And then our food costs are anywhere between like 15 to 50% increase on them. So we're part of a co-op, which you guys voted on that, I think the last meeting or two. But we are going to kind of evaluate other co-ops just to make sure that we're getting the right pricing and, keep it competitive because we need to make sure every penny, like when we talk about finances, every penny I spend, whether it's you get a breadstick for 22 cents or 21 cents. That means a lot whenever you're serving over 1.5 million meals a year. So just some fast facts with staffing. We do have some of the most dedicated, hardworking staff. It is just like people just, it's not just coming in and serving cute little kids food. All of it has to come about somehow, so it's really hard work. People don't realize how labor intensive it is, but what we find is a lot of people start the program, they come to work for us because the hours work best for the kids, and then the kids graduate high school and graduate college, and they're still there working with us because they get kind of sucked into that school nutrition vortex. It's much more than just a job to them. It's a passion. It's helping change the lives of the kids by providing healthy meals. So we're very fortunate to have the employees that we have. We currently have 143 team members, but we have 10 openings right now. So we are going to be fast hiring. That just kind of all came about, everyone's looking for things, so that just came about. So we have some applications there that we'll be interviewing, so I hope to fill most of those before we start school. And I did want to just give some statistics about turnover rate. This just kind of shows how we've progressed in the last couple years. So in 21-22, our turnover rate for our program, for our staffing, was 34%. 22-23, we went down to 24%, and then this last year we went down to 14%. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I owe that one to the pay raise that happened this year, so thank you very much for identifying the need for that. And then secondly, this year we started a program where I'm in the schools with my hairnet and everything, training 3, 4 to 5 days all day at a school with a consultant that we have called What's for Lunch. And it's really just identifying strengths of all the employees, putting them in places where they are better suited to work, so and getting them to have the confidence to do their job. And I think with that, it's really, really helped. We have about 6 schools still to provide this program in, and I really hope to continue to work with the staff. Things just get so busy that it's hard to get out at schools, and this year has been a really big focus to get out in the schools, because I love knowing the staff, and I think it's important that they know me and that I can see what their challenges are day in and day out and provide them the tools to succeed. So it's been a really good program, and I do attribute a lot of that staff staying to that. Most of the people, there's very few that leave because they don't like the job. Most of them leave because they need benefits, they need better pay, they need year-round pay. So those are things we can't control, but whatever we can control, I want to try to do the best so we can retain those employees. This is just a list of some of the different school nutrition programs that we offer in our schools. Obviously, we have the school breakfast and lunch program. We do have an after-school snack program that we offer at Oakdale. We are strong into farm to school. We have a new program called Fork Farms, which I have a slide I'll show you next on this. Farm to school, we want to provide as much local produce to our kids. And local, I mean adjacent area. I don't mean like local being Illinois or, I want local farmers. So we are doing peaches and apples and tomatoes and whatever we can get in southern Indiana that's local. So we want to try to extend that as we can. We also have a program called Little Chefs that took a little hiatus during the pandemic, but we want to bring that back. But it's used as a reward in some elementary schools. We started at Oakdale and Logue, and these students come in and they get to put on chef's hats and actually learn how to cook and learn about nutrition, and it's just been a great program. So it started at Oakdale with the ED class, and the teacher and the manager were trying to come up with something that would help motivate students with good behavior, and they got to come work in the kitchen, and then the kids liked it so much it extended to like all the kids. So it's been good, so I hope to really bring that back in full force. We also, which most people don't know, we participate in the Department of Defense Fruit and Vegetable Program. So it is an area that we can divert some of our entitlement money that we get from the federal government, and we purchase fresh fruits and vegetables from the Department of Defense. Interesting. And then the last program right now that we participate in is Community Eligible Provision, which is CEP. Basically, this is offered at Chandler and Tennyson. It provides meals at no cost to the students at those schools. It's a little tricky, but it is based on the direct certified number of free students that are eligible at those schools. So right now, the funding for it is not sufficient really to even maintain those 2 schools, but we feel like we want to try as long as we can to keep them at under that CEP provision. Hopefully with legislation coming in the future, hopefully that will change. We do have 2 other schools that would qualify for it. Well, it's a long story. There's a lot of little variables, but there's a couple other schools that would, but the funding just isn't there right now to do that. So this is a little bit of the Fork Farms, which I don't think you can really see very well, but Fork Farms is it's a unit that's about the size of a refrigerator that you plant items in to grow. And it's a hydroponic system, so it waters itself, it fertilizes itself. You maintain the pH in the bottom of it. But we tested it out in our office just to kind of understand the process. And then we have since taken that unit over to Boonville High School. So the class over there has been growing produce for our cafeteria there. So they had, the first round didn't go so well. The second round, they had this lettuce, which you can see in that picture that they brought down to the cafeteria for us to serve the kids. The next round, they did a bunch of basil that we used in some recipes, and then they're going to start the school year with tomatoes. So we're hoping if it can go well, it's just a great way to develop that relationship with where your food comes from, and the kids have really taken a great pride in providing that and telling their kids, hey, I grew the lettuce that's on the salad bar. So it's really good. We'd like to extend that some. And then our Little Chefs, basically the Little Chefs, it teaches them about food safety, washing your hands. They have hairnets on or chef hats. They learn about proper serving sizes for fruits and vegetables. They help us prepare those. But then they also do like rainbow grilled cheese and just some other things to get them excited. The boy in the top left, he said, this is actually an old picture, but he said he wants to be a chef. So I would love to know what he's doing right now because I'd love to see him be a chef. So just a couple of things, what's next for us? These are just some goals that we are setting for ourselves. We're always working on menu development and trying to do fresh food forward. We feel like the kids deserve the freshest food they can get, the less processed food they can get, and stuff that tastes good. So also, we are starting a new employee monthly training program. I feel like we have, in our department have kind of faltered whenever we hire new employees. We kind of just stick them in the kitchens and they go. So we're going to start every month, have anybody that we hire that month, we're going to do a training program for them that will teach things from food safety, but also like lifting, twisting, bending to help with workers' comp, just some of the food nutrition regulations they have to do, just to kind of get them to feel like a little bit more of a part of our program. Expand the on-site training that I talked about. That is going to be we already have it scheduled, so the other schools that need to finish that, I think it's been great. We want to expand student involvement programs like the Fork Farms or like the kids cooking class, the Little Chefs, increase local farm-to-school efforts as much as what we can. We're going to develop a strategic plan. I know we have a district one, and that's important for us to have one for our program so we can keep moving towards the future. A couple of things you guys will see coming up is we need to update our policies, the wellness and the unpaid meal debt or charge policy. Just on that really quick, we do have about $50,000 that was uncollected last year. We have donated funds that we're able to use to pay off the part that needed to be paid off this year, but those that owed money, it will carry over to next school year. We're looking at implementing a new texting low balance reminder system. It does cost, it's about 33 cents, I think, per student, but it will send automatic text messages when balances get low, and I think that might be a good thing. Parents do not have to opt into it, but they can opt out if they want. So, and then I'm very into the legislation that runs our program at the federal and state level. So I will continue to do what I can on that forefront, hoping to increase program funding if possible and continue to push for healthy school meals for all at no cost. I do have a meeting with Senator Braun's aide in a couple weeks, so we'll kind of see if where that goes. So, and lastly, our motto in our department, our logo is Eat Fresh, Energize, Learn. We know that healthy eating and learning how to eat healthy can reap habits and benefits for a lifetime. So that's what we want to continue to do. So thank you so much for letting me come and present about school nutrition. Thank you guys for all of your support. You've been wonderful, and I think that's it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Do you need this on? Am I leaving that on? Okay.
While Shanae's finishing up, I just want to point out, as you can tell just by having Mr. Webb here tonight and Mrs. Rao here tonight, the quality of leadership that our departments have. They do outstanding work with our daily operations. I think a lot of people in the public don't have a real sense of what it means to get children to school, to feed our children, to keep our facilities clean and maintained. And there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, and the success that we have is in large part due, of course, to those managers. So really appreciate the time and effort that they put in and dedication to our district. So thank you to them.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to move on then to number 5, consideration of routine business. Dr. Redmond.
Thank you. The routine items include approving the minutes of the school board meeting held on July 8th of 2024 and approving the claims and signing the docket for July 22nd, 2024. I recommend the board approve the routine items as presented.
Motion to approve routine items.
We have a motion made by Mr. Eigner to approve, and then a second by Mr. France. I get that wrong?
Nope.
Okay.
You got it right. Any discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here going to sleep. Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. And we have the first, let's see, consider, okay, we're going to consideration of the other items is A, consider authorizing the superintendent to hire employees to ensure staffing for the start of the school year. Dr. Redmond.
Thank you. Each year, the board has authorized the superintendent to hire staff, ensuring we are fully staffed for the start of the school year. As positions are filled, the board will be provided the names of the new hires and will take action, official action at the subsequent board meetings. This authorization to hire will begin tomorrow, Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. I recommend the board approve this request as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Baker, seconded by Mrs. Glover. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. And then we have, let's see, 6B, first reading of proposed changes to policy 4040, student attendance. Dr. Redmond.
Thank you, Ms. Metzger. Dr. Walter Lambert has brought to the board updated policy 4040, student attendance. This policy has been revised with updated language to ensure compliance with Indiana law. The first reading of this updated policy will take place this evening. A second reading will occur on August 12, 2024, at which time the board may choose to take action. If you recall, we just updated this policy a couple of years ago, so I believe in 2022. There have just been a couple of things that have changed and are now required by law, and those are the only additions and changes to this policy. So I'm just going to point out those two sections, and then we'll talk that through next meeting and vote on it at that time. So under Indiana law now, we have to have a truancy prevention policy apply to students who have 5 unexcused absences within a 10-week period. That will include the school will include the student's 5th unexcused absence in the 10-week period, will provide written notice to the parents. The school shall also hold an attendance conference to discuss the student's attendance, which will include a school rep, a teacher of the student, the parent of the student, and a representative that the parent is allowed to bring if they so choose. The school shall also establish an attendance plan that includes several things like wraparound services, a description of behaviors, disciplinary actions, and things of that nature. And then additionally, a student who has been designated as habitually truant may not be allowed to participate or continue participation in extracurricular or co-curricular activities. So that's just a brief summary of the new additions.
Okay. We're going to go to 6C, consider approving the 2024-2025 middle school and high school handbooks.
Thank you. In your board packet, you will find the proposed 2024-2025 middle and high school student handbook submitted by Dr. Walter Lambert. The additions to the handbook include the current calendar, policy 5350, prohibition of wireless devices during instructional time, and will include policy 4040, student attendance, once changes are approved by the board. I recommend the board accept the 2024-2025 middle and high school handbook as presented.
I have a motion made by Mr. France,
Second.
second by Mr. Eigner. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. And we're going to go to the consideration of personnel recommendations. Dr. Gresham.
Thank you, Ms. Metzger. The Human Resource Office has the following business to bring before the board tonight. Agenda item A, consideration of employment, certified staff positions, Israel Gordon, temporary Title I teacher at Yankeetown Elementary School, and support staff positions, Haley Dowling, full-time health aide at WEC, Sarah Wilson, homeschool advisor at Sharon Elementary, Libby Mays, program assistant at Logue Elementary, Lauren Etzel, job share program assistant at Newburgh Elementary, Amber Brown and Ellie Springer, program assistants at Newburgh Elementary. Aaron Ballard, part-time custodian at Castle High. Ivy Batts, part-time custodian at Chandler Elementary. Nicole Gillespie, part-time custodian at Newburgh Elementary. Melinda Simpson, part-time custodian at Oakdale Elementary. Samantha Askew, full-time custodian at Logue Elementary. Kayla Smith, 4.25-hour cafeteria position at Castle North. And Christina Morris, administrative assistant to the Director of Learning.
Motion to approve certified and support staff positions.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Eigner, second by Mrs. Glover. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Agenda item B, consideration of employment, Rachel Ohm, special education teacher at Elberfeld Elementary School.
I move to approve the employment.
Second that.
Motion made by Mrs. Glover and seconded by Mr. France. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Agenda item C, leave requests, Cheyenne Wilson, special education teacher at Castle High School. Mary West, health aide at Tennyson Elementary School. And Jacqueline Waters, custodian at John H. Castle Elementary School.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Baker, second by Linda Glover, Mrs. Glover. And do we have any discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Agenda item D, transfers. Joanne Monroy, 4.25-hour cafeteria at Castle North to 4.75-hour cafeteria at Castle North. Kayla O'Neill, 4.5-hour cafeteria at Castle High to 6.5-hour cafeteria at Castle High. And Ashley Stevens, 5.25-hour cafeteria at Tecumseh High to 6.0-hour cafeteria at Newburgh Elementary. Agenda item E, resignations. Travis Bush, business teacher at Boonville High, resignation effective July 9th, 2024. Matt Holwager, social studies teacher at Castle High, resignation effective July 12th, 2024. Grace Primer, program assistant at Chandler Elementary, resignation effective July 5th, 2024. Molly Ackerman, job share program assistant at Newburgh Elementary, resignation effective July 9th, 2024. Sharia Strange, 3.25-hour cafeteria position at John H. Castle Elementary, resignation effective July 15, 2024. Brittany Jennings, ABS program assistant at Sharon Elementary, resignation effective July 19, 2024. And Madison Mercer, program assistant at Logue Elementary, resignation effective July 19, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gresham. We have next on here is reports of the WCSC data summary. Dr. Redmond.
Yes, tonight, Mr. Jason Fisher is our Director of Learning, is going to give us a brief summary of all of those fun tests that the students take at the end of the year and give us a snapshot of how all of that turned out for us this year for our district. Mr. Fisher.
Good evening. Really excited to be with you this evening to give you an annual update on our corporation's performance with the state mandated standardized assessments that we are required to take each year. Last Wednesday, the majority of these results became final, so we're excited to get this information to you as quickly as we possibly can. For tonight's presentation, I am going to focus on the following three assessments. The iRead 3 assessment, which all Warwick County School Corporation students in grades 2 and 3 take each year. As a result of Senate enacted Act 1, that will be statewide for this coming year. So all second and third graders from here moving forward throughout the state of Indiana will take the iRead 3 assessment in the spring each year. I'm also going to discuss our results that are now final with the iLearn grades 3 through 8. We do not have science scores back yet because we tested on a brand new set of science standards, and they are going through the standard setting procedure right now at the state level. Those results should be finalized sometime at the end of August. And we will also discuss the SAT grade 11 SAT school day results for our corporation, which too were issued final last Wednesday. Before I begin discussing iRead 3, I do want to make everyone aware that due to the testing window of iRead 3, we have a testing window in the spring, and then there's what's called the summer retest window. Being that summer retest window extended into the middle of June, the results that I'm going to share with you for tonight, those are not final. They are still going through some quality checks on students that will count against certain schools or will count for another school, because some students, as we all know, move throughout the year. And you have to attend a school for a certain amount of days for you to be counted toward that school's accountability. It will go to our corporation. So for iRead 3, based on our preliminary results right now, we believe that approximately 92.1% of our students pass the iRead 3 assessment. Now, what that means is that is for third grade only. When we're talking about accountability purposes, the grade 2 students that tested this year, they do not factor into that percentage. So that is only for our grade 3 students for this year. That is a little bit down from last year. As Dr. Redmond always says, we have to own our data throughout the corporation. But when you look at recent trends, it is still up over the 91% that we had 2 and 3 years ago. So we do feel good about our iRead 3 results, but we do know that we have work to continue to do. We do not have the final scores for the state of Indiana, the percentages of where the state ranks, but usually that has been in recent years somewhere around 81 to 82%. As we all know, Dr. Jenner's goal by 2027 is that the state have a 95% pass rate on iRead 3. And as soon as we get those final results, we'll share those with you. For iLearn grades 3 through 8, for 2024, our corporation average was 58.9% of students passed or met proficiency in English language arts on the iLearn assessment. Once again, this is for those 6 grades. That is an average for those 6 grades. You'll see there in parentheses an S. That stands for the state average. So our state average of students who passed the iLearn in English language arts was 41%. So as you can see, we are roughly 18% above the state average. As you look at math, for 2024, we were 62.7%. The state average was 40.7. So in that category, that content area, we are a full 22% above the state average. And for the both, what the both means is for students that pass the ELA assessment and the math. For our number of students that we have throughout the corporation, 50% of our students throughout the corporation passed ELA and they passed math. They passed both. For the state average, as you can see, that is around 30.8%. This is for grades 3 through 8.
Mr. Fisher, I'm going to interrupt for just a
Yes,
moment. I
ma'am.
see some of you taking notes. Just so you know, we did already drop this into your board packet. So of course, you're welcome to take notes, but I just wanted you to be aware you have this entire slide deck in your board packet if you want to look back and examine those scores later. Thank you.
I do apologize that the cohort that you have in front of you, it's not as large as I would like it so everyone can see it. But about 3 to 4 years ago, we established a cohort of school districts that we wanted to compare ourselves with. And after about a year, we realized that we needed to raise the bar a little because the cohort that we were in, we felt we were exceeding expectations. So this is our new cohort. And as you can see, these school districts or corporations, they are similar to us in size. They are similar to us in economically disadvantaged. And some of these school districts are the highest performing in the state. We have a 3-year trend there for you. In ELA, as I said earlier, we're going to own our data. We are in the bottom half, but we do feel good about our English language arts data in this sense. As you can see, we went from 58.7 to 58.2. We're now 58.9. We are growing. Last year, we improved on our English language arts scores. Throughout the state this year, there was a slight increase in ELA, very slight, less than about 0.2%. Our math, we are very proud of the results of our educators, our admin, and our parents that we have. As you can see, we are in the top half in our math proficiency scores in this cohort. And then in our students who pass both, we're somewhere around the middle. So we're very pleased with that data. As we look at the state, initially, when I said we don't own our results, I was somewhat concerned because we experienced a small dip in math from last year. But that was throughout the state. Out of 390 school corporations in the state of Indiana, And for the board, I want to make sure that we all understand, this is all corporations that are reported. This is parochial, this is charter, this is virtual academies. There are 390 corporations that reported in the state of Indiana. The Warwick County School Corporation ranked 23rd in English language arts out of those 390. That's about the 94th percentile. For math, we are in the top 20. We rank 19th, that is in the 95th percentile. And for our students that passed both, we were 20th. And that's out of 390 corporations, once again around the 95th percentile. So even though that we experienced a small dip in math and a slight increase in ELA, our position relative to other corporations increased, because last year in ELA, we were 25th. Math last year, we were 21st, and in both, we were 22nd. So I'm very proud of the work that our educators have done. I'm very proud of the work that our administrators have done. And most importantly, I'm very proud of the partnership we have with our parents, because none of this would be possible without all three of those components. So I think that is a huge testament to those folks and to the Board of Education for your support. Because when you have all three of those things going together and we have a strong board behind us, these are the results that we think we can get. And we're hoping to improve on that. We're already beginning work for next year. For next year, after school, very lucky to work with two very talented curriculum specialists. So after school, Kayla Russell had department meetings in math and ELA in every single grade, K through 5, to begin mapping the curriculum, because this year, for our iLearn assessment, there will be a slight change. They will be removing some standards, and then next year we will be tested on the standards that were just released last year. And SAT school day results. I'm going to try to be concise here, but I also want to provide you with just a frame of reference. When you look at that score for evidence-based reading and writing, that's what EBRW is for Warwick County. And you'll see there in parentheses, at 480 benchmark. The company that administers the SAT school day has come up with this benchmark, this score that says benchmark. And what all benchmark means is that if a student in Warwick County would attain a score of 480 or greater, that when they enter an entry-level, college-level course in language arts, they would have a 75% chance of earning a C or higher. So that's what benchmark means. College Board did many years of study to establish this score. One thing that I will say is last year was the first year that the SAT was delivered all digital, but for evidence-based reading and writing, Warwick County, we passed almost 61% of our students, or 61% of our students met the benchmark. For the state of Indiana, which is in the small left-hand corner, it was about 51%. So we're about 10% higher than the state average. With evidence-based reading and writing, we're very proud of some of the work that our schools have done with analytical reading and close reading strategies, because that score increased almost 5% from last year. The state average increased about 1%. For math, we had 32.6% of our students obtain the 530 benchmark. And you can see there's quite a discrepancy there between evidence-based reading and writing and math. Part of the reason for that discrepancy is you can see the benchmark score is 50 points higher in math. And once again, through College Board study, they feel that a student that earns 530 on this assessment will have a 75% chance of earning a C or better in an entry-level math course at the collegiate level. The state average was 25.2. The state average this year fell about 5%. We will have to see on control checks, and as College Board does some checks on how much the administration of this assessment in the digital format contributed to that 5% decrease in math. Students that met the benchmark in both evidence-based reading and writing in Warwick County and math was at 31.4%. The state average is 24.1. And to get to work on owning our data, Mrs. Erin Stallings, our secondary curriculum specialist, has already had meetings with our math departments at the high school level to begin looking at the priority standards and how they align with the College Board, the SAT School Day Assessment, and what we can do to provide our students with the skills that they will need to be successful, not only on this assessment. What we're most concerned about is helping them be successful after they leave high school. So we're beginning that work after the school year. We met with several math departments at the high school level, and they've already began aligning their curriculum and establishing priority standards. That is all that I have at this time regarding our 3 assessments, but I do want to send a shout out to all of our administrators and our educators. Last year, they were dealing with brand new assessments, grades 3 all the way through grades 11. I mean, this was the new digital format for the SAT, and last year we had new standards for the iLearn, but we were still testing on the old standards that we had previously. So just a tremendous amount of work and tremendous amount of flexibility from our educators and our administrator and our parents that are so supportive of our efforts.
Any questions from
I've got
Mr.
a
Fisher?
question. To that point about the standards changing,
Yes, sir.
is that just always a moving target? I mean, is it ever gonna, how often are we changing, or like, do we get 3 or 4 years where it's the same?
Mr. Agner, we certainly hope so,
Okay,
because we're putting a lot of work. We do believe that they have re-established the standards. When they're creating these iLearn assessments, they're based on these new standards, so we're hopeful that the standards will be consistent for 3, I can't put a number on it. And
Right.
the standards are always going to be evolving.
right, yeah.
So it's never going to be just a set target year after year after year. It will continue to evolve, but I do believe next year we're going to be testing on iLearn on the standards they created for 2023. So I do believe more or less they will remain similar. I don't know that they will be exactly the same, but there will be some
I can
similarities.
imagine that'd be very difficult as an instructor to always trying to be teaching something that's changing, so.
Well,
But-
it does present challenges,
Right.
but in education, if nothing else, we learn to be pliable and flexible.
Right. Okay, so just one more thought into that. Are we needing to learn how, are we trying to teach the test, or are we trying to teach a skill?
We are teaching skills. And
Okay.
we feel, I strongly believe in the Department of Learning and throughout the corporation, that if we focus on relationships with students, the relationships with our parents, and the instruction that we provide, it's quality instruction, great Tier 1 instruction that keeps students engaged, we believe these results will take care of themselves.
But even if we're doing that, if we don't see numbers, and we know we're doing that, and we're teaching the skill, sometimes you don't necessarily see numbers go up, right?
I would think that we would,
Okay.
but in the event that we don't, we
Say
own that data and we reevaluate.
I
Because
could say,
we're
well, Mr.
constantly
Eidner said
evaluating.
that.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
No,
No.
I
We
think,
so much, we worry about the test.
I-
I mean, we got kids gotta learn how to read, and
Yes.
they gotta learn math,
Yeah.
so.
I think 2 points, just to piggyback on what Mr. Fisher said. I think there are situations where it is possible that a student doesn't always demonstrate what he or she knows through this type of assessment.
Right.
So I think that is possible, that sometimes we don't capture that in that standardized test assessment format.
Yeah.
The second thing is, our viewpoint is, and Jason said this already, but just in a different way, if we are teaching the content standards, we believe the scores will come.
So they align pretty well then.
So they do align pretty well.
Okay.
Now, when every 3 or 4 or 5 years, when they're making these changes to which assessments are going to be our accountability assessments, and these tweaks that they make every few years to which standards are gonna fit in which grade level, that does present some challenges on, how that moves over to the assessments. But our grade level teachers are very good at understanding the core content.
Yeah.
Doesn't change very often.
That's
It's
true.
usually, 3 or 4 standards here
Right.
might move a grade level, or 3 or 4 here, or these have become what we call priority standards for some reason, because maybe the Department of Ed is hearing that these are areas that our students need to be have better skill bases in.
Yeah.
And so, you know, while it is a moving target, we do feel like, to your point about are we teaching the test, we're
Right.
teaching the standards. And if
Right.
we do a really great job in our tier one,
Yeah.
teaching our standards, then in theory, these scores come with.
So, okay, last thing, how likely do you think it is that we could get to that goal from a 92 up to a 95? You know,
I think that goal is very likely. I think
That's
last
attainable?
year we were at like a 94.1 or
We
something.
were at
So we were
94.1
so
last
close.
year.
We were
I
so
missed that
close
bit,
last
okay.
year.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so we had just that little dip this year, and of course, it's a different group of students.
Yeah.
We believe we can get to, for iRead, we definitely believe we can get to that 95%.
cool.
We believe so, and of our second grade that tested this year, slightly over 60% have already passed.
Yeah.
So we feel we're well
And they
on
don't
our
have to
way.
retest, right?
No, sir, they do not.
Right, that
Once they have demonstrated proficiency, they no longer have to take the iRead 3 assessment.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, a lot of interesting information. Let me get the paper turned over here. Okay, now do we have other board business? I believe that we'll have our policy and curriculum committee meeting. Was talking to Dr. Lambert earlier, and we'll probably schedule that after the August 12th board meeting.
We're not gonna do it the 26th? I thought it was August 26th.
So if everyone remembers, because of the budget hearing and the timeline for the budget, we need to have our work session at our first August board meeting. So we'll have work session first August board meeting, which leaves second August
So you're
board
not
meeting
gonna have one then?
open. So we're not gonna have two work sessions in August. We'll just have the budget work session.
Okay,
I would say August 26th at 5:30.
Yes, does that work?
Yeah,
okay,
it's a late night.
Yes.
that's true.
I was trying to ask Jeff about construction.
It should be on the 13th of August,
Okay,
and that'd be at 7:30 in the morning. So,
thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Does any other board members have any other information or any discussions on anything? Not any, we'll adjourn the meeting.